Hi everybody, it is Wednesday, February 23rd. Yeah, yesterday was 02/22/22, so it was pretty unusual, unique, one of a kind, once in a lifetime experiences. Um, yeah, I was gonna sort of just check in. There's been a few changes. If you noticed, for instance, I changed the name of my channel to Intuitive Walk-In. I was gonna talk a bit about that. I think I told you guys before. I don't know why, but uh, I call them my guides, whatever. They've been telling me to, um, you know, I guess stay under the radar and kind of like, well, that's why they've been encouraging. They've been telling me to change the name of the channel for some reason. I won't know that probably till later on, as the years go by. But yeah, I was constantly just told to change it and stay under the radar. I think I only have probably 9 people watching this channel anyway, so it's not a big deal. But another thing is, yeah, I've dyed my hair, so if you notice, it's darker because I'm getting more work as an entertainer. So I've got to change my look a bit. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be shaving off my beard probably next week. So next time you see me, I'll probably be clean shaven. So I'll look a little bit different, but same guy. Anyway, so what I was going to talk about lately is, I guess, yeah, maybe just even, for instance, the name Intuitive Walk-In. Basically, intuitive basically means intuition, and all of us have it. So it's not as if I've got something special. What it is I'm just more aware of it. It's like I get a hunch or a feeling for something, but also for me, it's a little more turned up than that because, yeah, it's I'm not necessarily remote viewing or something, but I sense. To be honest, it's like I'm connected to the world. So you could almost look at it like the force. It's like I could feel if there's a disturbance in the force or something. It's very similar to that. And also, uh, when you hear the word, an empath or something, I've definitely got a lot of that. I first noticed that when I was a child. But basically, what that is uh, it's like it's a highly tuned um, sensor to your emotions. Like it's like, well, empathy. For instance, you can feel a lot more than usual, and that's why people that are you know strong empaths, it's almost best to work alone because I gotta admit, when I'm around people, I feel the vibes from people and I feel their emotions. And sometimes you can get really tied up in it too. Um, so it's best that I don't have too many people to deal with because then it just gets overwhelming for me. I mean, how basically being an empath, what it entails is, and that's why yesterday was kind of interesting as far as an earthly marker. I felt kind of a disturbance in the force. I'll call it that too. It's like I said, I'm sort of connected to human race, to consciousness, to everybody's consciousness. I mean, I'm just a little tiny little speck of sand on the beach, but I'm just saying I'm in touch with everybody. It's like this ripple effect. And yeah, yesterday I was feeling, I just got this feeling of something big's gonna happen, and it's either a turning point or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but it affects empaths physically a lot of times. Like you feel sick to your stomach, things like that. It's like this feeling of dread sometimes, but also a feeling of also happiness too, and that's in a sense, or excitement. Sometimes I'll get that as well. um, yeah, so yeah, something big's brewing for sure. Um, and I like I said, I kind of depend on my guides for filling me in. There's a lot of information out there lately, and I'm going to basically kind of try to clarify it from my perspective as much as possible. First of all, as you know, we're winning this battle, and we've got them running. We've got our controllers basically freaking out because they're losing control, which of course they saw this coming, but for some reason they won't let it go. I get it. They're just gonna basically fight to the very end. So we kind of pick up on that, and so kind of what I'm getting now is the last card they're trying to play is fear as usual. They're trying to have confusion and fear. So they're basically they're trying to ramp up, for instance, the story of, the world's going to go to war, or there's going to be a fake alien invasion coming up, or I think they gave up on the death wasps or killer wasps or something. I forget what that was, but um, but yeah, this is kind of ramping up, and for instance, my take on the Ukraine situation. What's really going on is it's it's not what people are thinking as usual. We're being told something differently. What it is Russia is basically uh, in collaboration with Ukraine, basically um, taking Ukraine back in a sense. Uh, but it's what it really is what people don't realize is Ukraine has been taken over by the cabal basically ever since the fall of the USSR. Um, it's under the guise of Ukraine is like its own country, whatever. That's all very fine, except for it's been infiltrated by the cabal. It's being used. Uh, Russia has known about this for a long time, and in a sense, what they're doing is they're freeing Ukraine from the cabal. So it's not a takeover. So what I'm getting at is, no, there's not going to be the start of a big war there. This is really a subtle thing going on. Um, as this thing plays out, then you'll see. But I'm just saying, as usual, don't fall for all this fear stuff going on out there, and the lies. And I mean, there's a lot out there. Even I get caught up in some of it too. But I gotta always think it through. Like whenever I either watch a video or I'll read a write up about something, some information, sit there and just like debate it for a while. Like that's kind of what an empath does too. But it's like almost like you want to get a feel for it. It's like, okay, so what's going on here? Is that true? Or if you get it's like getting a hunch. It's like, I got a hunch they're not telling the full story here, that type of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely at this stage of the game. So the next kind of big rollout, I keep getting this constantly. It's like over and over again, is because we're getting help not only from off planet, working in alliance with, let's say, the White Hats or the good guys on Earth here. They've been fighting against this control system. One of the bigger problems they're having is to detach us from the financial system that we're a slave to, the banksters, basically. Well, because they've been controlling all that. So, from what I get is they're doing it as usual. They're trying to do it as painless as possible. And so it's this slow withdrawal from the banking system and from the fiat money system, which is basically money worth nothing. It's whatever they say it is, it's worth. So we're going to go back to the gold or precious metals backed finances. And they're trying to do this really slowly and without, because they don't want us to have not only freak out because our money's not worth hardly anything and the exchange rate's going crazy and whatever. They don't want us to go through any more pain and suffering as possible, because I mean we've already been through so much. That's in a sense what this whole freedom operation has been about. It's been about trying to free these beings, which is humans, us, all of us, from this controlled prison planet that we're in. Basically, because what was making it the most difficult thing about it is the fact that most of us don't know that we're in prison. Sort of, we don't know that we're being played and farmed and everything. So it's like wake us up to that, and then change the system around. Do this really subtly, really slowly. So that's kind of what what's going to be coming up next as far as something big is concerned. It's not going to be wars and tsunamis and earthquakes and whatever whatever they're coming up with. Those are, as usual, just they're trying to confuse everybody and keep us all in this low vibration of fear again. So just what I'm saying is just don't don't fall for it. Be very discerning. And what I keep getting is this. Yes, it's going to be a hiccup. It's going to be a bump in the road to our freedom. Well, we knew this was coming. And also speaking of that, for instance, take for instance what's happening up in Canada. Uh, I mean, this is planned because you got to remember you can have a sleepy population that doesn't know. I'll explain it that way. It's they don't know that their government is corrupt because, as we all know, the way they've been rolling this out. I'm talking about the bad guys' plans. It's always been they always do the long plan. It's the best way to do it. Is it's the best way to do it. You draw it out. It's a slow takeover. It's that analogy of pulling one feather out of the goose at a time, and it won't. If you start really pulling out handfuls and stuff like that, obviously the goose is going to take off and freak out. That example, but you do it one feather at a time, and next thing you know, at the end of the year, he doesn't have any more feathers left. That's kind of what's going on here. They've been doing this really subtly, taking control of the bank system. They're putting their people in place in governments all over the world and everything. So this is what's been happening, especially up in Canada. Is really, really subtle, slow rollout. It's basically turning a democratic, free nation into this socialistic, communistic state controlled by the one world government or the globalists. That was the plan. So the only way to expose it was to have people rise up, like with this freedom trucker thing. Basically waking the Canadians up to just like, yeah, they've gone just a little too far or whatever, and just like finally get everybody on board. Yeah, let's get our freedom back. Then people started thinking about it for the first time. And then in order to expose how bad the government is, you have to let them play it out. So that's kind of what's been happening. They go there, the government has overreacted like they knew they would. And now it looks like, okay, now they're showing their hand. It's like, yes, that government is being a tyrannical dictator, and it's basically saying you got to do things our way, otherwise we're going to arrest you or financially cripple you, whatever. Well, that's kind of what they've been doing all along, except slowly. So now they're being exposed. So again, this is part of this ripping off the Band-Aid. It's a slow version of it, but yeah, we have to go through this, unfortunately. But as usual, it's not going to be as bad as you think. It's more like letting the bad guys play out their hand, and which is going to expose them. That's kind of what this is all about. So anyway, this is just from my perspective, from my guidance and my slight intuitive perspective. And so yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But again, the main thing is don't fall for the fear, as usual. So anyway, that's my short little update, and maybe the next time I see you, I probably won't have this beard. We'll see what happens. Okay, bye.